gravity field CC that we know and love. But anyway, enough of that. We are in the game now. We have the first bans being Kale, Twisted Fate, and Amumu. So Twisted Fate, once again, for the purple team, they've been banning him out this entire time. Really don't want to deal with that global pressure. And Shen wasn't actually picked last game, and as I said before, Shen isn't as big of a priority as a lot of people think he is, but he can be used with certain team comps very, very well. Especially Twisted Fate. Shen Twisted Fate can make a lot of action happen around the map. Great global pressure on there. But it looks like the blue team, they ban out Kale, which is someone we've seen ASDF 9000 really, really use Kale efficiently in the mid lane, which is something we don't really see too often in his mid lane Kale, but if you can make it work, you can make it work.
If I have to say one thing, it's that if you were Catastrophe right now, you'd be feeling pretty good. Like, people are banning against you, against you people you've been playing in the tournament, because they might fear you. They might fear how powerful and how well you've been using those champions. But alternatively, they're taking away your champions. But
Yeah.
having those banned leaves open a lot of other champions. We do have Shen and actually Hecarim, which was banned in the first round, not in the second, but I'm going to see Hecarim picked up.
And this really goes back to the conversation we had at the very beginning of the tournament. Back when it started, before the first match, we were talking about some of those high-priority picks and bans. Hecarim showed up. He's just an amazing jungler as well as a team fighter in the late game. In the early game, he's got some great jungle clear. He can jungle clear very quickly, and he's got some great ganks with dispositioning abilities. And once he hits level 6, he has an AoE fear, which is also a gap close at the same time. So he's got a lot of power in his ganks. And late game, he becomes a very, very heavy tank, sitting in the middle of the fight, healing up a little bit, which I believe is his W, is something, Spirit of Dread, heals himself for the amount of damage he does to enemies around him in the AoE. And he's also very, very tanky as well, and still has that AoE sort of flush ability with his ultimate, running into some place and making people scatter, making people fear. They're going out of the way, which is why he's such a strong champion. So I can definitely see why he's being first picked. And the blue team, they have locked in the Misfortune pick, so she's a very, very strong champion still in the meta. Even though we haven't been seeing her played as often, she's still very strong because she's got an amazing AoE teamfight ability, as well as a lot of damage early, mid, and late game, to be honest. She does a lot of damage all around and has a great AoE ultimate ability. So she's a very strong AD carry, and picking her with Blitz is going to be able to utilize her kit quite a bit as well. Make It Rain is going to slow people when they try to get away from Blitzcrank, and if you're sitting next to a Misfortune, she's going to be able to put out a lot of damage with her impure shots.
In all honesty, Sona, incredibly squishy first laner. I believe has only a little bit more health than a caster minion. Lowest base health in the game out of all champions. So we're going to see her, if a good hook gets landed on Sona or even Vayne, we could easily see a first blood. And Vayne is the current AD carry pick that's being hovered over right now. It definitely would hurt against the lane in the early game, but late game, by no means is Vayne ever hurt. And we're seeing a lot of... we're going to have a Karthus locked in for looks like the mid laner of the Catastrophe.
Ooh, ASDF got his Kale taken away, but he plays Karthus, two champions which are very far apart in terms of their sort of playstyle, whereas Kale is working more towards her auto attacks for doing a lot of damage as well as Reckoning, and then having the ultimate to heal people. Karthus is working off of the AoE. He wants to be sort of in the middle of a fight, which I want to see ASDF. I want to see him start doing that. I want to see him be able to play Karthus, because a good Karthus can really mess up the enemy team very well. And the purple team, they really have a team to complement him, to complement the Karthus pick as well. They have Sona and Sejuani, two very, very big AoE ultimate stacks that stun. Very, very nice for Karthus to run in there and get a lot of damage down in the middle of the enemy team. So I love those picks. I love the amount of synergy that the purple team has. What they do have to watch out for, as you stated before, is the early game in their bot lane. If Vayne gets shut down early, then she's not going to be able to be the big presence that she is mid and early late game. If it gets to the point where they can hold out the game until she gets her full item build, then she's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. But if, say, Misfortune is 6 items while Vayne is still 4 or 5, then Misfortune is going to end up being ahead. So we'll have to see what they end up doing there. It looks like they have a Jace to round out the top lane. Not that AoE team fighter that we know, although he does have quite a bit of poke, and he also dominates lane pretty well, which I can see one of the reasons they pick him is to make sure that Renekton doesn't get fed, which is something that you really don't want, because Renekton is actually a good sort of back line diver. He can dash twice, get to Vayne, stun her, and put out a lot of damage before he finally dies, or before he gets CC'd out of there.
We have an Orianna, so as far as backline diving goes, that's going to help tremendously. We have Hecarim and we have the Renekton, two targets for to put the ball on with the protect, prevent a little bit of upfront damage, and then the ult. Just they're going to get in the middle of that team fight and they're going to ult, which is going to be good. But that pulling Sona into Sona ult your team, not the best. Pulling a Sejuani to slow your team, not the best. Pulling in a Karthus to AoE your team, not the best. So they do have answers, but it's definitely going to be a very strong Wumbo combo, especially with that bullet time. And if Blitzcrank is in the mix as well, he's going to be able to silence them for a few seconds. So we could actually see a very big Wumbo team coming out of the blue team. Alternatively,
Yeah.
purple team, heavy amounts of CC coming out. We have Karthus slow, we have the Sona ult, we have the Sejuani ult. We're going to have a very high CC team, so they're looking for more fight control as opposed to just a bursting.
Yeah, the purple team, they've got a lot more CC in their abilities, and the main difference between both these teams, even though both teams have a very heavy initiate comp, I would probably say the blue team has a stronger initiate, and that might be weird to think of at first because we see the ultimate on Sejuani having pretty far range, and she can dash as well to get closer and use that. But what I'm sort of talking about is the fact that the blue team has more to capitalize on the initiation. Say Hecarim decides, all right, I can catch this person out, ults. Then Orianna can use her E to basically put the ball on him and ultimate everyone while he goes in. We also have a lot of gap closing on the blue team. They can make more of the initiation. We have Renekton who can dash twice if he lands the first one. He can dash twice, and that'll give him a lot more mobility. We also have Misfortune's Strut, as well as Misfortune having a much longer range in general than Vayne. Her ultimate twice outranges Vayne's auto attack range, and she also has the double up, which gives her a lot of range as well. So she's very heavy in range, so she can really make fights happen no matter how far away they start. And the purple team, they're more towards the sort of I'm going to initiate, but the rest of my team sort of has to be with me. We have Karthus, who, if Karthus is sitting in the back line and the front line initiates with, say, Sejuani decides to charge in and ult, then Karthus is way back there. He's going to have to take quite a bit to actually get towards the fight and get in the fight. And same with a lot of their other champs. Vayne is going to have to cover a lot of distance. She does have Tumble, but it's not as big a gap closer as a lot of other abilities might be. And on the blue team, we also have someone like Blitzcrank who can basically unposition someone who's got good position, can unposition a front line. So that's very good initiation for their team. And we'll have to see what happens on either of these teams because this is going to be a very interesting game.
Well, I will mention that some other matches that are in our tournament, Dream Team is in the quarterfinals facing against We Attack Red and currently League 5 Titans, who we did watch last week. So you guys, if you did watch last week, remember them. They are facing against Tiny Pudge in the semifinals in a different match, which both are very good teams. Tiny Pudge,
Oh, yeah.
we've talked a lot about, and they've, I believe, taken one or two of our tournaments. So
They have.
yeah, so it's that should be a really good match. Hopefully, one of those good teams, make it to the finals, and we can end up watching their match, or maybe we can watch another semifinal match when we get closer.
Yeah, the winner of this game that we're spectating right now will end up going against the winner of Dream Team and We Attack Red, and Dream Team is a very, very strong team right now. We've seen them win the last TDTV tourney last week, which they had a very strong showing in, and they are a Korean team, so they're going to be very, very strong in this team. But although I don't know Re-Attack Red, so I'm not sure how good of a team they are. They could be one of the teams that basically just sort of shows up out of nowhere and takes the entire tournament. I don't know yet. We'll have to see how well they do. But it's Dream Team is very good. We've been seeing them quite a bit, and Dream Team versus Ponytail or Dream Team versus Team Catastrophe is probably going to look like a very good team. As we've seen Catastrophe, they have a lot of different facets to their play. They can make action happen really quickly and snowball the game near the beginning, like we saw the first match of the day, or the second match of the day. They can take it sort of more subdued. They can take little advantages and edge the lead out little by little, and then finally win off of that. So they're a very good team. A lot of different play styles that they can enforce. And meanwhile, we also have Ponytail, which, as you said, shown up for quite a few Tower Dive TV tourneys, and they always make a good showing. So hopefully this game is going to be a good one.
Yeah, well, coming back to the game we're currently watching, Team Ponytail versus Catastrophe. We are in the third round of the Tower Dive TV tournaments. My name is Sakimans, and with me, of course, I have the voluptuous Azaraki.
I actually don't know what voluptuous means.
It's kind of like sexy-ish. You know, it's like I forget the exact definition, but I'm just throwing out adjectives that are good.
All right. Someone's telling me it means curvy.
I thought it meant, yeah. It's kind of like very very defined body shape, but either way, we are seeing fairly standard play so far. Both teams just defending. Not really much happening, and actually Blitzcrank having all 6 items to start with, taking that Explorer Award. I'm not sure if we've seen any other support take that yet this tournament.
Yeah, I actually have to say it's kind of weird not to see the blue team in doing that level 1 engage. They have Orianna, whose ball can basically give sight of whatever bush they want. They have Blitzcrank, who can pull in whichever champion they want, basically displacing them from the rest of the team. They're going to have to be forced to flash to get out of the range of the blue team once that happens. And we also have people like Renekton, whose stun can easily follow up and help do damage. We also have a lot of high damage in general with Misfortune, really, really heavy early game damage with double up, and just her basic auto attacks in general. So, interesting why they didn't invade, although it is the quarterfinals, so both of these teams, they want to be sort of playing more defensively. They don't want to take too many risks, because one bad play can easily spell the defeat and their exit from this tourney, as it is a best of one single elimination tournament. And ooh, we actually see the red team, Team Catastrophe, they're going for a duo mid, sending Vayne and Sona mid. They really want to shut down AMAD on Orianna, and I think that sort of shutdown on Orianna is going to be a good choice for them. But they'll have to play really defensively in terms of the bot lane, because they're sending one person against a Blitzcrank, which is something you never ever want to do. So hopefully their mid lane edge will edge out their bottom lane deficit.
Yeah, and it looks like, having to blow his flash in the bot lane in the pull. And Hecarim fighting the Sejuani might get the kill here. It did pop the Ghost. We are going to see him chase Sejuani. Sejuani going to get out. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we might see First Blood going down to chase. No, turning away a little bit too soon. But Renekton is going to juke that. He's going to juke that ball.
Shock Blast.
There, Shock Blast. Thank you. Oh, my God.
Wow.
That was so close. Turning around, just misinterpreting how many ticks of Ignite he had. Just that's something you never want to do. But still, that is going to be Renekton forced out of lane for quite a little bit.
So we'll have to see which AP champion ends up doing less in terms of the late game, because they're both going to be pretty shut down in terms of farm. We already see both AD carries 15 and 20, while both mid lane champions sitting around 6 and 9. So already getting shut down quite a bit. Karthus' flash is already blown. So both mid laners going to be at a heavy disadvantage going into mid to late game. But to be honest, I think that Karthus is actually going to end up being less useful in the late game than Orianna will, because Orianna still has a lot of her kit that is very utility oriented, whereas Karthus' kit is sort of more damage oriented, where his only utility really is his Wall of Pain, which slows people and gives them a magic resist debuff, I believe. Yes, they're magic resist debuff. So We're going to have to see which team ends up ahead in that fight. Although at the same time, Karthus can use his ultimate to have global pressure around the map, and he can also get assists and kills from a distance, so he might not end up being that far behind, depending on how much action the red team can make around this. All in all, I think actually the blue team might come ahead of this lane swap, but we'll have to see how the ganks turn out.
Yeah, right now they're just trying to push down this tower. That's one way, or one reason why you do this lane swap. Really try to push down the tower early. We've seen this strategy actually become really popular in the pro scene, especially in Korea, because, you know, they pretty much usher on a lot of things. And actually, Sejuani going to show up in the bot lane, relieve a little bit of pressure from Karthus. Neither are really, really good against an MF Blitzcrank. I think they'd still lose a one-on-one fight, though. And Hecarim actually coming in behind Jace up in the top lane here. He could be in trouble. Does have the red buff. Jace trying to get out of here. Going to be able to try to pick up this Renekton. He's not going to be able to. Hecarim's going to knock him in the other direction. He is now running away. And red buff will pick up first blood. Just, oh, poor Jace. He almost killed Renekton like 3 times and then getting picked up himself.
Yeah, you really need to be careful in the top lane when you have no wards, you're pressuring your lane, and you're pushing down the tower. He really didn't expect that gank, which is sort of odd, because if you're pushed up that far, you kind of have to expect a gank. But in the mid lane, oh, Hecarim charges in, not able to do anything, as Sona pops her E to disengage that fight. So a really good part of Sona's kit that really helps both of these champions out in the mid lane, which as we know is the shorter lane, but in the bot lane we have a gank.
Yeah, we do have a fight coming here. Blitzcrank being taken down really low. Karthus putting down his wall in a very weird spot. Sejuani now actually continuing to fight. Maybe might pick up a kill here, doing a lot of damage. Blitzcrank gets that knockup. Actually might get a double kill here. Ice Wisp continuing to go in, but Blitzcrank passive, giving him that little bit of shield he needs, but still very, very nice pickup there by Sejuani. Doing just enough damage to pick up that MF, so that Karthus wall, not the worst thing in the world, not the worst placed, and MF is down a flash.
Hecarim is trying as hard as he can to make some action happen in the mid lane because they don't want Vayne to get fed. They don't want Vayne to be too far ahead. Although at this point, even though Misfortune gave up a kill to Sejuani, that fight was still worth it in the bot lane because they ended up killing Karthus, which prevents him from farming even more, puts him farther behind. Misfortune has a kill above Vayne's no kills, even though Vayne has a little bit more CS and scales a little bit better in the late game. It was a better fight for the blue team in general, and Sejuani I don't think is going to be able to make use as much, but in the mid lane we do have a dive, and it looks like Barrier is going to be saving Vayne's life.
Yeah, along with that, yeah, Barrier, definitely a good summoner spell. It's a very good denial. It counters Ignite in a similar way, and even a little better than Heal does, so Vayne going to be back out. Blitzcrank.
He might be able to pull in the bush.
Oh, he's not.
I thought he was trying to.
No, but he's going to go for the Sejuani right here. Not quite getting the knock. Well, no, it looks like he did get the knockup, but Sejuani, very, very tanky champion, high health champion to start out with.
Yeah, Orianna was out of mana as well, so she wasn't really able to capitalize on any pulls that Blitzcrank made, but unfortunately didn't realize that Vayne was sitting in that bush recalling. He could have landed a pull, and I think that would have been really fun to see, is just see him land the pull on Vayne, delay her back, and ultimately kill her because she was at really low health. But it looks like in the bot lane we have Misfortune actually now catching up in farm to Vayne. Vayne just has gone back. She has a BF sword, so we're going to see most likely a Bloodthirster coming from Misfortune, and after that I can possibly see a Black Cleaver because the rest of her team does quite a bit of auto attack damage. Every single person except for Blitzcrank, who is the support, and Orianna will be doing auto attack damage, so if she can land her ultimate on the entire enemy team, she'll lower all their armor.
Very, very nice ult coming out there by the mid lane, Ahmad, and it looks like they are chasing the Vayne. Vayne will get picked up, SS Vegito getting taken down. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, they are going on to MF. Karthus will be picking up that kill, and Sona escaping again, barely with their life. You can see how low Sona is. Hecarim was diving the tower, but just going too low to want to keep going after that.
Yeah, I think that the blue team in the bot lane would definitely benefit from more wards, but in the top lane we have an engagement.
Yeah, we do. Jace is being taken actually really low. Renekton might turn this around. Will Jace have the burst damage to do this? All he needs is one good gated shot, and Renekton's ult to wear off, and he might actually get this kill here. What's Renekton trying to do?
Choose the wrong bush.
Yeah, he's just waiting. They're waiting. Looks like that is a Karthus ult coming out It's going to bring him low, but will they get the kill? The stun goes down! And unfortunately, no. The Karthus ult was wasted, and Jace will just get picked up. Very, very nice play by St. William. And they are going to actually be able to push this tower off that. Looks like Catastrophe, a little bit of trouble at the beginning, but then again, Ponytail, definitely not a team you want to mess with. Ponytail, very, very strong team.
That was a little bit of a mistake on Jace's part to sort of go that close. I think he forgot about the fact that Renekton has such a powerful stun and a dash as well. He basically just dashed out of the bush and stunned Jace. So even though that Karthus ult did take down some of his health, he wasn't actually able to get in an auto attack before he was stunned and died. So it's unfortunate for Jace and could have been played a little bit better, maybe just waiting it out even longer, shock blasting the bush again or something of the sort. But it looks like that will end up pushing Renekton farther into the lead and Jace farther behind.
And here comes Hecarim Vayne getting caught out. Very nice Sona ult though, that actually is going to be able to save them in the bot lane. Sejuani coming in, misses her ult actually. Did he use, did she just use her ult there? I think she just botched that ult. No, just charge
that was her
forward.
permafrost.
Yeah, that was the charge. But still, like, not going to make anything happen. In the mid lane, lots of summoners were burned, as we see barrier was burned from Vayne, but that was ended up. Ooh, we are going to see Sejuani having to jump away. Very, very.
Oh, there's the flash. Able to dodge the dissonance from Orianna, and that would have slowed her down quite a bit. And Orianna is a very spammy sort of champion. She's got a really heavy kit in terms of the amount of damage it can do. Just sort of, you know, basically repositioning the ball, dissonance, reposition, dissonance. A lot of damage coming out from her kit there with low cooldowns. It looks like Hecarim might be getting caught out right now. Oh, but wow, he's really fast. He just charges away. Doesn't even need Ghost, and he's out of that. But it looks like the red team will be pushing down onto the mid lane, and there's really nothing Amad can do, but he's getting engaged on.
Yeah, he is getting slowed, stunned by that Sejuani. Gonna be taking down Hecarim ult, not gonna help enough. And it looks like Sejuani going to be able to get away from there. They might look to push this tower. There we go. We see Diplox actually picking up that turret kill. And they are going to be trying to disengage. They do not want to fight right now. They know for a fact that blue team probably in the lead. And, you know, that's a very good thing to know. Again, we're seeing Catastrophe start to play safer now. They know that they're not having a commanding lead. So, you know, they're really taking that safe route, which is really good.
Yeah, they are really taking the safe route. Both of these teams are playing sort of safely. It's a little bit more action this game than we saw in the last game. Well, in terms of straight-up teamfight action, there isn't so much edging out of tiny little advances that don't actually involve kills, but it looks like blue team going for the drag, a missed shock blast, unfortunately.
Yeah, and now we are going to see an engagement. Renekton ult was popped, maybe a little early. Bullet time, not really hitting much of anyone. Here comes Vayne. Her ult is popped, going onto the MF. And now Blitzcrank could be in trouble here. Yes, will get taken down now. SS Vegito in lots of trouble. Gets taken down. Hecarim is taken down himself. Karthus ult coming down to assist a little bit. But that ult by Orianna does so much damage and totally displaces the enemy team. But it looks like Sejuani and Jace going to be able to escape, not wanting to really run through the Karthus. But that really wasn't that bad of a fight. But still, not in the really best interest of anyone, and blue team got the drag.
The blue team would have been farther ahead in that fight if I don't even know how to say that name, but if Misfortune had landed the ultimate just a little bit better, right? The way she ulted, it sort of hit more of her own team than anyone on the enemy team, which is something you don't really want to see on someone like Misfortune, but she could have easily turned the fight when when Vayne was chasing her out. With her ultimate, which would have done a lot of extra damage and it would have helped her out with the fight in general. But right now we've seen she's completed her Bloodthirster, going for boots, and I think she might end up going for the Black Cleaver. Like I said before, the rest of her team does a lot of physical damage. With the exception of Orianna and Blitzcrank, we have 3 sort of AD scaling champions. So if getting that Black Cleaver will allow her to take down the armor of basically everyone on the blue team, allowing her own teammates to do a lot more damage, and that's really one of the biggest strengths of Black Cleaver over something like Last Whisperer, is Last Whisperer gives you armor penetration, which helps your damage, but it doesn't really help out the damage on anyone on your team. Whereas Black Cleaver, it lowers the armor of everyone on their team, or anyone you hit. In this case, I'm assuming Miss Fortune is probably going to land a good ultimate and hit multiple people, but it lowers their armor so that they're more vulnerable to the rest of your team. Great item pickup, especially on Miss Fortune.
Almost a really good pull there. Would have put Diplox really out of position. And now Hecarim's going to be forced to retreat there, though, because Sejuani and Sejuani and Sona actually doing a decent amount of damage. I think we just need to call the Misfortune missing now. I think that's what we're gonna deem her.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard name. I think it's just like 23 OQJ, or is that an OQI? It's OQI. But, oh, actually, pulling the blue buff over the wall. Unfortunately, the red team does see the blue buff sort of spazzing out near the bush. I think they can assume what's going on, but not close enough to do anything about it. So the blue team takes a free blue buff away from the red team. That's going to give them a little bit more control, as well as put a blue buff onto Hecarim, which is going to help him out spamming his abilities, especially those charges, as well as Rampage, which is already a very spammy ability.
Things are looking like they're in a little bit of trouble here. We're kind of seeing a stalemate, and slowly, Ponytail just kind of pulling ahead in the lead and kind of maintaining that lead. So we really need to see red team do something. The problem is they can't really do anything at the moment because they're behind. So we're going to have to see how they continue to react to this. And right now it looks like Sejuani taking a little bit of poke from MF. And, oh, very nice split took. She's not going to have a charge to get away from that one. Blitz putting him very out of position. And that just, Sejuani overstayed her welcome.
Yeah, she really did not see the blitz coming up from down near the bottom of the river, and we just got pulled there. It was a great, fantastic pull, and that's really what the blue team wants to do. They want to take these initiations where they can basically outnumber people. That's what Blitzcrank does. He doesn't really have too much utility outside of his pull. He basically has a knock-up, but you have to be in melee range for the knock-up to work, and he also has an AoE silence, which helps a little bit, but it doesn't really help as much as someone like Thresh.
We are going to see an engagement here. Karthus getting caught out. Orianna smart not to use that ult just on one person. Hecarim going in, though, catching out Jace and Vayne, but maybe a little too early as he is going to get burst out, and now Renekton getting taken down pretty low. Vayne forcing the barrier. Very, very nice barrier, and this could be the turnaround that red team was waiting for. Blitzcrank also going to get picked up, and now it looks like Orianna is in trouble. Diplock getting caught out right here, but very nice exhaust, still going to get picked up. No, it looks like MF and Orianna are left. She is going to be able to slow at least the Misfortune, but so much damage coming out from both of them. Now it's just Sejuani. They got kited into a jungle, into a situation they didn't want to see. We are going to see a teleport, though. Karthus going to be jumping right back into the fight here right when he spawns. Karthus putting out a lot of damage here. Orianna being taken down really low. Slowly and slowly, there is a shutdown, and I'm not sure if the ult will kill MF either.
Oh, that was a great fight for the blue team, really. The two of them, both Misfortune and Orianna, just basically tag-teamed 3 members of the red team to death. It was an amazing sort of kiting thing that they had there, and the red team just going a little bit too much tunnel vision, saying, alright, we need to get these kills. Those two are killing us. There's no way we can let them kill all of us and not get the kill, and by doing that, they ended up taking a lot of damage. Orianna, she's got a needlessly large rod as well as Athene. She's doing a ton of damage right now. 5, 2, and 5. She's also farmed pretty well in comparison to the rest of the team, although the farm numbers in this entire game are sort of small because the red team did pull that early game lane swap to put the bot lane in the mid, but I really like that fight. Unfortunately, what went wrong for the blue team there when Orianna was being chased was the fact that she used Dissonance behind Karthus rather than using Dissonance to get herself the speed boost and to get away from Karthus. She tried to Q back to Karthus and slow him, but instead she ended up sort of whiffing that, and it didn't slow Karthus, and it really would have just been better if she had speeded herself up.
Yeah, definitely would have helped. I think MF just, if it might have been worth it if MF had been picked up as well, but you can see that Karthus just doesn't have the damage to make his ult hit for like half of people's HP bars yet. So, you know, it's really not an option. And we are seeing both teams kind of they're going to be meeting off in the mid lane. I'd say that red team has slightly better poke, but they really need to be careful. Blitz is on their team. They do have that engagement opportunity. Not many items though, but even less. Sona has even less items. and Sona is extremely squishy. So we're gonna have to see what ends up happening here. Oh, they're waiting on a ward. That's not good.
Yeah, they are on a ward. So the blue team knows where all 5 of them are, so they can have a little bit of their own freedom in terms of, alright, we can walk wherever we want in our own jungle. We know they're nowhere near. And that's something, you know, they were standing on a ward, and even though the blue team was too far away to actually, you know, make a team fight happen or something like that, a lot of people would say, oh, well, so what if they're standing on the ward? The blue team isn't close enough to do anything about it. Well, the so what is sort of the fact that the blue team knows now where everyone on the red team is. We could send someone like Renekton top and he could clear the waves. We could all go mid and we know where they are. So it gives them the freedom to go wherever they please in their own half of the jungle, and even near the bottom lane they know that the enemy, you know, they're all 5 of them are in the top half of their own jungle. We know that their bottom half of their jungle is completely free of enemies, and so is our jungle. So it gives them more assurance saying, well, we can walk in our own jungle and we know nothing's going to happen because they're all over there.
Debonair Jace doing his little back animation, pulling out the rose, being like, I love you all. And then the red team's bot lane getting swooned indefinitely. But either way, we are going to, just taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture here, we are going to see that they do have the blue team. Whoa. Blitzcrank randomly blowing his ult there. Not sure why he did that, but we are going to see...
Not really sure, but he's on a fairly short cooldown. It's on the 28-second cooldown. After the Lux nerfs, I think it's actually the shortest cooldown in the game on an ultimate, aside from the spammy ultimates like Kog'Maw or Anivia or some champions like that. Aside from those, I think it's really one of the shortest ultimate cooldowns in the game. So he's not really going to be missing that in the next fight. I mean, it's already back up right now. But they are looking towards Baron a little bit. Oh, it's invisible. I was going to say, I don't see Baron, the icons on the map. But yeah, it's doing that bug where it's invisible again. The red team, they look like they might be trying to do something.
They are going to get engaged on here. Unfortunately, they went out of range of the Protect. Very nice job stunning Orianna. And it looks like Hecarim will fall. And now White Castle and Renekton might fall pretty soon too. But MF is going to be coming back in that fight. Divelock's going to be picked up. And Vayne, oh, Vayne, you need to get away. MF just does so much more damage than you do. And it looks like right now, Eamon getting flashed on! Not even risking a Q right there, just flashing and turning on his Defile. Very nice job. And red team actually came out on top, but still, MF was in the back line of that fight most of the time. They really need to get that MF. That is primo target number 1. So
yeah, we're seeing these fights. What's basically happening is the fact that Hecarim is engaging. We have a follow-up from Blitzcrank and as well as Renekton. So they're all following up on Hecarim's engage, and they're not all very tanky. Hecarim has gone straight for the Blessing of the Elder Lizard, which is a great item on Hecarim, but he doesn't really have any tank on top of that. He went for Boots of Mobility for ganking rather than tanking, and now he has the Warden's Mail, which gives him a little bit of armor, but doesn't really shield him from any magic damage, or it doesn't give him health either, so he's missing out on a lot of those tanky items, and so is basically most of the members of the blue team. I think the tankiest one actually right now is Renekton, having Chain's Best, Giant's Belt, as well as Hex Drinker and Ninja Tabi, so he's fairly tanky himself, but they're getting shut down pretty much immediately after they initiate, so it looks at the very beginning as though the red team is losing all these fights, or I mean the red team is winning all these fights. The blue team, 3 members of their team are already down. They lost the fight, but Misfortune is sitting in the backline, as you said, the entire time, doing a lot of damage to the rest of the red team and soloing Vayne in that fight and killing a bunch of other members one by one, and it's really something that the blue team is good at. They're really good at distracting the attention and making sure that the red team focuses their tankies instead of their squishies, and this is basically the second time that's happened, where the first time we saw both Misfortune and Orianna kiting through the jungle the entire time with a great play, and this time it was mostly just Misfortune that was kiting through, although Amad on Orianna was also able to stay alive throughout most of that fight and clean up near the end as well. Unfortunately getting picked up by Karthus, but what the red team really wants to do, as we've said before, is they want to go after Misfortune and Orianna. And like I said before, they don't really have too much in terms of gap closers to be able to do that.
Yeah, and they do see that this Baron is happening. They are going to go in and try to steal it. Unfortunately, going in a little bit too early. Neither in smite range right there. But red team did get it. Very nice Orianna ult, and followed by a Hecarim ult. Just going to wombo combo the whole team. And now Debonair Jace is in there. Oh, he's not going to be able to pick up the Renekton. And the Orianna going to be staying there. Oh, they did pick up Baron, so they denied it from their blue team, but they definitely, it was a well-fought fight. Blue team hit their skill shots completely, but that Karthus just being in the middle of the team and Orianna, that initial Sejuani ult, doing such a good job.
It was a very, very, very good Sejuani ult. Unfortunately, this is one of the main problems that we see when teams try to go for a team fight sort of while Baron is already under half health. It's sort of the question of, do we focus Baron and get that buff so that we can win the rest of the fight with the extra AP and AD, or do we, on the other hand, use focus the enemy team to make sure that they don't kill us, but at the same time they might be able to get the smite on Baron, or Baron might damage us a little bit too much, and that I think was one of those moments where the red team was basically focused all on Baron, where they wanted to get the Baron down, they wanted to kill it, they wanted to smite steal it, and they were able to do so, but on the other hand, they positioned themselves so closely together that an Orianna was able to basically stun them all, as well as put out a ton of damage. Hecarim just followed up with that, and it was a very, very quick team fight for the rest of the way for the blue team. So what really happened there was just the fact that the red team was a little bit too focused on getting Baron, and they didn't worry enough about their positioning, so they got womboed.
It is 25 minutes in the game, and right now the gold lead is only a measly 3K. It is extremely, extremely close, this game. And just both teams doing a good job to hang on, to not give any big lead to the other team. Despite red team losing these team fights, they've come out close. Maybe one member they'll win by, and then they'll get a tower. And look, they even were able to come defend this tower, despite the fact they were pushing. They might do an engagement under this tower. Renekton did go in. Orianna only hitting 2 members. Karthus did Zanya's through the bullet time. Very, very nice job. Sejuani's still alive. Looks like Blitzcrank will be the first one to be picked up. And now MF completely out of position under their tower. Vayne doing a good job of cleaning up right here. We are going to see her kill the Orianna. And, picking up that Renekton by flashing after him. Almost going the wrong way, but being barely in range. And this could be the turnaround that Catastrophe wanted. It's still only, it feels like it's so late in the game because of how slow this game is moving and how just close everything is. But the death timers are not long enough to make any major turnaround happen here. So we are going to see them tank.
That fight, unfortunately, was really badly fought for the blue team. They dove past the tower, and they were really in no position to do such. They landed a little bit of their abilities. Someone dove, I forgot who it was, I think it might have been Hecarim, but he dove through the tower to sort of begin that fight. Orianna only ulted 2 people, as you said. Didn't really get the max damage off. Miss Fortune's bullet time was a little bit too far back. She wasn't able to hit all the members of the red team, and the people who were in range, like Karthus, ended up using Zhonya's. So it really wasn't the best fight for the blue team, and they really should have played that more patiently instead of diving for it. Maybe overestimating their lead, or I'm not quite sure what happened, but it just wasn't a fight that ended up in their favor, and it was just badly initiated.
I'd have to agree. I'd have to agree. Just like I was talking about right before that fight, it's just so close. You don't want to fight a fight under the tower when it's so close.
Yeah, that's very true. The tower did so much damage, especially to Miss Fortune, as we saw in that fight. Took her down quite a bit, and Vayne was just able to clean up afterwards. And ooh, the pull almost missing, or almost hitting Zona right there, but there's the initiate. Yeah,
we are going to see an initiate here. Vayne putting down a lot of damage. Hecarim getting a very, very nice fear right there, but he's going to get taken down pretty fast. Looks like red team actually in a dominant position here. MF wasn't in that fight, not able to burst people down. Now Renekton is in trouble right here. And it looks like actually doing so much damage. Karthus is going to be able to take down the Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank not doing the best pull, but Renekton will have time to take down Sona. Unfortunately, MF is the only one left standing. I think red team might be able to start catching up a little bit. Blue team needs to really, recuperate and fall back a little bit.
There were 2 big problems with that fight, and one of them was the fact that the blue team, they were disengaging, they were running backwards, and they got caught out by Sejuani's ultimate, and from there it just fell. Vayne was able to capitalize on that, Karthus was able to do a lot of damage, and the Sejuani ult was a great ultimate. That was a great catch out from the members of the red team, and I think it caught 2 or 3 members of the blue team, but ultimately it was enough to keep them stun locked in order to finish up the fight and do a lot of damage. The second major problem with that fight was the fact that Miss Fortune was using her ultimate, actually, which is something that seems counterintuitive, but she was too far away from the fight in order for her ultimate to hit all the members of the red team, and even if it was, she's sort of building towards straight-up damage, where she's not outputting the most damage that she can with her ultimate. If she has a black cleaver, then the ultimate would have been a great choice in that fight, but right now her damage output is trumped by her auto attacks, basically. If she activates impure shots, her auto attacks end up doing more damage than bullet time does because of the way she's building, and because of the fact that the red team has a lot of armor. They have a runic bulwark, which gives everyone on the team armor. Sona has Ninja Tabi as well as Mikhail's Crucible. The Mikhail's Crucible is able to heal someone as well as remove all the stuns and CC from them. And we also have Jace, who has a Guardian Angel, giving him more armor. So they have too much armor in order to be able to be, taken down by a lot, getting a lot of damage on them from Miss Fortune's bullet time. So right now, she would be better to either go for the straight-up auto attack fight, or if she wants to use her ultimate, she needs to use it before the fight starts. She needs to use it in a place where she's not going to sacrifice that much of her own auto attack damage.
Yeah, it would actually help for Miss Fortune to get a black cleaver. That armor shred in the beginning levels of the fight would definitely help a little more. It'd help Renekton, and it'd help Hecarim put down a little more damage, and accent her auto attacks that she would be doing afterwards. But I do agree, MF has super high damage right now, or at least had over Vayne. And now Vayne's caught up a little bit. But MF was one scary person. Not so much anymore. She's just one of the fellas, just another person right now. And we are gonna see Jace pick up that blue buff, possibly wanting to keep it. I'm not sure why Jace picked it up. I mean, it's not a bad person at blue one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is not a bad person to have blue on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a
super
horrible
bad.
person to have blue on. You never want Jace to have blue buff, but yeah, he's a very spammy champion. He's going to be able to make good use of that cooldown reduction, and really his acceleration gate can sometimes act as a free Shuralius for his team. Anyone who walks through it gets a very large speed boost. So it helps him with his initiation as well as helping his own teammates position very, very well, which is something we're seeing his team take advantage of. But it looks like we do have an initiation now.
Not quite. Orianna all going down. We are seeing the teleport from Karthus. He is now in the middle. Bullet time. Very, very nice wombo combo by the blue team. Actually getting lots of kills here. Hecarim picking up the Sejuani. And now Karthus is the only person left. He is going to get taken down. He is going to take down Hecarim. And now that Karthus ult might get a double kill here. No, actually, Renekton's ult, not actually Renekton, just too tanky, and Orianna, very, very nice. Zanya's not even having to blow it in the fight, and just, this game is just so close, and look, that might be a free Baron. No, actually, blue team not going to be in any position to do Baron, but meanwhile, red team, bot lane.
I think the blue team just ought to basically thank Orianna for that fight. That ultimate, so amazing. Beautiful. Bursted down most of Vayne's health. Vayne got killed as one of the first members down in that fight, and Vayne has recently been sort of cleaning up these fights with Blade of the Ruined King as well as Silver Bolt. She's been doing a lot of damage, so taking her out early really, really helped out the blue team in that fight. They're able to turn it back and win that fight. It was a very good play by Orianna, and Hecarim was also sort of the unsung hero, basically funneling the red team into sort of an AoE, into a cluster, so that ultimate would be able to hit 4 members of the blue team. If they can keep doing stuff like that, then they're going to be able to win these team fights. But we'll have to see what the rest goes, and it looks like Miss Fortune is now building a Bloodthirster, or a Black Cleaver, which I think is still a little bit late. I think she could have waited on the Infinity Edge a little bit, because, as I said before, the rest of her team really does a lot of physical damage.
Are going to be doing a Baron play here. Blue team knows about this, but they're continuing to do Baron. They did pick up Baron. Very nice smite, but we are going to see a team fight here. Karthus did use his Zanyas. They are in the middle, but unfortunately, all 5 members of the blue team are there. Looks like Vayne tried to come in here and clean up, but it wasn't the smartest idea. And now it looks like blue team in a lot of trouble. Jace is here. Karthus can't help clean up, doesn't have his ultimate.
Ooh, that fight was amazing for the blue team, and one thing that I said before that I really like about this fight, and part of the reason it went so well for the blue team, is the fact that Miss Fortune 23 OQI did not use his ultimate. It was something, like I said before, it doesn't actually put out as much damage as her auto attacks now that she has the Infinity Edge. And having the Infinity Edge, her auto attacks do so much damage, and without the Black Cleaver, her ultimate really doesn't do all that much damage. It doesn't help her out in the fight all that much as her auto attacks would with the build she's going for. And now that she realizes that, now that she's auto attacking a lot more often, she's putting out so much more damage. On top of that, we had a great initiation by Hecarim, basically able to flush people out while they were taking Baron, and it was really not the best decision for the red team to take Baron in that fight in the first place, because they all ended up clumping up in the Baron pit, and there's really nothing you can do to do anything about that, because when you're in the Baron pit, you really have no choice but to clump up. There are walls all around you. So unfortunately, people can't walk through walls, so they're going to be just having bad positioning against this sort of team, and Orianna's ultimate was able also to do a lot of damage as well as reposition a bunch of people, so it was all around a great fight on the blue team, and I don't think it was the best idea for the red team to go for Baron in that fight.
You know, I mean, they got Baron, so after that fight was over, the gold would still split even, but you know, it wasn't the best fight. They did lose an inhibitor out of it, and that's really going to make things a lot harder. Like, before, the fights were even, but now the red team just has an inherent disadvantage. They have to worry about this giant, you know, minion wave just pushing down their towers, and we're going to have to see, like, you know, red team now just wait it out till the late game and really wait it until just one winning team fight will pretty much be game.
Yeah, Vayne is in the situation where she's not really as strong as Miss Fortune right now, where Miss Fortune's almost got a full build. Just needs to turn that pickaxe into what I think is going to be a Last Whisperer. But the Vayne, she's really hurting on her damage. She has Blade of the Ruined King as well as Infinity Edge, so she's going to have a lot in terms of the crits as well as her Silver Bolts, going to be doing quite a bit of damage with the attack speed from Blade of the Ruined King. However, she doesn't really have anything on top of that. She's building towards her Last Whisperer right now, which would help her quite a bit, especially considering the fact that Randuin's Omen's being built on.
Ooh, and there's the engagement by Blitzcrank. Very, very good pull, but they pulled probably the least good champion. Renekton in the back line, taking a lot of damage. Here comes Hecarim. Nice Orianna ult, hitting 4 members of the red team. Now Vayne trying to kite, doing the best she can. Not sure if she's going to be able to do anything. No, there it goes. And here comes the Karthus trying to get a kill. But Seraph's actually saving the Orianna. And very, very nice fight by the blue team. We could actually see a victory coming up here fairly soon. Not sure what Sona can do to prevent this push. No, Orianna! Ah! Don't do
scare you like that?
Yeah, don't scare us. Don't scare the casters, but we actually might see.
Yeah, it looks like this might actually be game. I really love that last team fight by the blue team, and now that we see that Miss Fortune has bought the Black Cleaver, her ultimate shredded people. It not so much in its initial damage. Its initial damage, you know, it took down about 400, 500 health on Sona, which is the squishiest person on the red team. But what it did was it basically gave everyone else on her team the ability to do more damage. We saw Renekton in the fight. He was melting people. Rampage from Hecarim was doing a lot of damage throughout the entire fight as well. Same with Orianna, obviously, but same with Miss Fortune's auto attacks as well. It really, really helped them out with that fight, and it was a great fight altogether. Great team play by Ponytail. Blue team,